one thing into another, into a system. So all these things are the challenges I think we have to address. Maybe not at all, but we should try to deal with them one by one. Then still need some effort.
Professor John mentioned the limited airspace resources that have long been a bottleneck for many countries, I think, when they're facing the development of this low-altitude economy. How do you assess such a challenge? And how can we better allocate low-altitude airspace to meet growing flight demands?
Right. There's obviously a lot of concerns, not just safety of the gliding with existing aircraft and stuff like that. There's also privacy issues and other things regarding having drones and even people sitting in them flying all over the place, right? So the regulation here really is the key. For example, if I have a house and I just don't want anybody to fly near me of my house airspace, then there's no such thing as low-altitude economy anymore, right? But on the other hand, if the government just says I can't object to that, then my privacy would be compromised. Then there's would be from general population. So some kind of regulation going into enforcing what the drones can and cannot do, and they cannot see, people sitting in there with their flying past people's windows stuff, and that sort of thing needs to happen to make the airspace really available and make people feel comfortable with it. And this is a hard and arduous process, not going back and forth. There's going to be pushback from the general population, and then the regulatory body will have to address the concerns in a way that also leaves free room for development of the industry. So this is another thing that really needs to happen before 2030. We really need the air services, air taxis to kick off everywhere.
Domestic challenges like regulatory upgrades and airspace allocation are essential, but challenges abroad cannot be overlooked either. Given the high demand for technological innovation in the low-altitude economy and the reliance on important components like chips, Professor John, how can we ensure the self-sufficiency of key parts for low-altitude vehicles to address potential risks of technological blockade?
Right, so there are two different types of chips. So the chips that goes into the vehicle themselves, the control chips, power regulator chips, those are not so much a problem. China not only can produce them because of the U.S. action, especially backfiring all around. China had to develop them really rapidly. So now China is selling them into the international market at extremely competitive price, which is why the U.S. has to impose import restrictions on those chips. So that's not a problem at all. What could be a little bit of a problem is the high computing power AI chip. That chip is a lot of circuitry in a very small space. So China is gradually catching up. For example, the extreme UV light sources to help that, which will allow these things to improve. And China is leveraging smart packaging of chips and different chip architectures to sort of circumvent the problem of the circuitry density. And most importantly, very recently, China has shown the ability to train AI large language models with very limited computing power. So basically, smarter mathematics, smarter algorithms that enables China to train those models with fractions of the cost. So the AI stuff we can use for autonomous driving, which further feeds into the safety issue. If ever flown one of those drones, humans controlling that, especially when it's windy and stuff. But the AI chip is not a fundamental construction, and any forcing chip restrictions to be the most important restriction factors.
Mr. Yang, do you share the same stance? With the United States continuing chip restrictions on China, how do you see this impacting the development of the low-altitude economy, especially in areas like advanced hardware and AI-driven systems that rely heavily on cutting-edge semiconductors in China?
I share the same view with in fact, for aviation, people think it's a high technology, most advanced things. In fact, not for aviation, because safety is the priority. So we do not use the most advanced, most latest technology into the aviation application. We not use a reliable, we do not use that some 1 meters or 3 meters. No, 20 nanometers is okay. and for the electric device, it's also well matured.
Professor Joe, what's your take on this? Will chip restrictions place China low-altitude economy industry at a disadvantaged position in the global market?
Yeah, I want to use one example to show you that, like the DJI, they have been placed on the export control list for quite a while, and they have designed the best the drones for the civil use in the world. Even if the United States, they do have the high-end chips, they did not produce any kind of comparable drones in this market. So it's not just like who have the highest, the best chips, they can do the best drones for flying vehicles in the world. But on the other hand, I have to argue that maybe it is still possible if we are able to produce the better chips that we can reduce the cost and trying to improve the ability and the performance of the vehicles. So in my understanding that based on this logic, we still need better performance of those chips. Well, on the other hand, if you're looking at recent several years, China is increasing the ability of producing the chips a lot because of the control of the United States, because of the restrictions of the U.S. government. So on the other hand, the Chinese government, Chinese market is responding to the activities of the United States by doing them their own, the chips and also other developments. In my understanding that the cooperation is good. Without cooperation, we can still be there. We can try to find out another way. And maybe it is not as good as the first one, but maybe it is different.
Professor Joe, speaking of Western countries, we now, like the United States and Europe, were early adopters of this concept of low-altitude economy. So how would you evaluate the development of these related sectors in Western technology powerhouses?
Well, they're looking at the most important airplane manufacturers, and Airbus and Boeing, they are the biggest one in the world. So they're coming from not for the low altitude economy, they're coming from the long distance of air transportation. So when I was in the United States to pay a visit, I can find that the airports are everywhere. There are so many different kinds of vehicles, lots of private jets or private airplanes. So it's definitely flourishing. But if we're talking about industries, I don't think that we have created a very good ecosystem to support the development of those economies based on the flying market. Maybe some kind of the billionaire or millionaire, they do have their own airplanes. But when we're talking about the relations between the different parts, about the manufacturing of the propellers, about the manufacturing of engines, manufacturing of the different products, they are not so well connected. And their efficiency hasn't been improved a lot. So if you're looking at China, I don't think that it is the same. So we do have a lot of potentials to just overpass them because we do have a systematical way of planning the resources usage, and we are acting intentionally to use the technology and also the artificial intelligence or other technology to improve the efficiency and trying to make it safer. So in my understanding, when we compare with these two systems, I don't want to put them on the opposite position, but I would argue that the efficiency of development of the low-altitude economy in China will be much faster than that.
Speaking of ecosystem, Professor Zhang, I recently came across a piece of news. Europe's low-altitude economy startup company, Volocopter, has filed for bankruptcy. Some experts suggest that Europe's low-altitude economy might once again fall behind similarities experiences in the EV sectors. Do you agree with such an assessment?
I think the problem with Europe is they're too desperate to have industry leaders that can compete with American and Chinese counterparts. That they're concentrating resources, money, land, government policy favors into just a few potential candidates. There's also a battery maker that had a lot of attention early on in the past. The issue with that approach is very against how innovation works. Usually you want to spread your money around across lots of different entrepreneurs, and then compete against each other, sort of finish the live, and that's the idea. But having the opposite way of concentrating resources, it basically just gives money to the guys with prettiest presentation. And usually that kind of people, they're not the ones who sit down quietly and work through all the tedious details, especially for vehicles. Improving safety means a lot of careful engineering, improving every aspect of engineering. It's very tedious. In the end, the reality just doesn't catch up with their expectations, and they're all high profile classes because the presentation is so dirty, so they don't have profile. And then the class is equally spectacular. I think that's their problem. They need to be more patient.
Mr. Yang, if we look at the international arena, we see a mix of both good and bad news. The year 2025 is widely regarded as the pivotal point for the commercialization of eVTOLs and urban air mobility. Japan plans to launch eVTOL commercial operations during the Osaka Expo this year. What impact might this news have on Japan and the global low-altitude economy landscape?
I don't see the impact of Japan or just for the worldwide. So for the effect of general aviation, still there, but this change is a progress of the technology. This comes from new vehicles. So eVTOL is kind of the old RAV come to the new sector, come to the low economy in China. I can see the still back to the basis of the low altitude economy. We must make sure, no matter it's eVTOL or UAV or whatever, we must make sure we can fly. We can fly easily, we can fly cheaply, we can fly safely. So this is one kind. So there are three elements in general aviation. We have to notice that no matter it's how the policy, how the government push for. First one is how to affordable, how to relaxable for the landing at takeoff from airport and then also at takeoff point or for certain center. So let's make sure that how the land is cheaper and affordable and relaxable. Second one is high traffic control. So without air traffic control, we cannot see that we do not need to see the low altitude or high altitude vessel just because the high control is much restricted than the lower altitude. So that's why we come to the low altitude economy. So make sure air traffic is flexible and open. The second one. Third one is I can see for the service speed. How to make sure not the free of charge like landing and takeoff in airport. This is without any charge. This possible in fact in China, in the US is true. And also it's very cheap. So this one time I can see that no matter it's a eVTOL or whatever, it must make sure we can fly easily, safely, and safely. Second right is to come to the safety aspect. It's the most important factor. So that's why I just two point I have nothing to say.
Mr. Yang, besides competition, let's talk about collaboration. From a global industrial chain perspective, what role do you foresee China's low-altitude economy play in the future?
Yes, and for in fact, in the aviation technology, China is still trying to catch up with the Western European and American. And we see a lot of aspects is learning from. And also for the aviation, I think it's a worldwide business. No matter for the device or for the material or even for the regulation. So for the air traffic control, we still need to communication to one each other. So we cannot easily to speak to us and from the most advanced, most developed sectors. So come to this international cooperation, I think for the low altitude economy, even without the international cooperation, we cannot see the big future. We cannot see we have a very large economy that size. So with the global cooperation, we can share the technology, we share the regulations, we can share the people and the resource. So that's my point of view.
Professor Zhou, what's your take? How do you view China's cooperation with other countries in the low-altitude economy, especially with Global South?
Yeah, actually, I think that there are much more possibilities for China to cooperate with like the countries in the South America. And like China and Brazil, we have some cooperation in the aviation sectors for quite a while. And it's basically not only about how can we produce airplanes, but also about how can we produce different kind of related products, and how can we make a better design about the infrastructure of airports, and how can we make better use of the resources that we are able to use the flying vehicles to transfer from one side to another. So we have so many areas, like for the agriculture cooperation, for the pest controlling, and for the rescue, for different purposes. And under the mechanism of the Belt and Road Initiative, I think there are much wider areas for us to explore about how can we deal with the different requirements for the vehicles to be used in the low altitude economies with a better safety requirement, and how can we make a standard of those products to be better fit for different countries. I think that is definitely one of the possibilities for us to reduce the use of the fossil fuels and use more renewable energies in this regard, and trying to be better connected, because it's not only about the flying, about the transportation, it's also about the digital cooperation, the data flows, and also the software improvement. So we do have a lot of things, like even in the smart city program, we do have some cooperation in these areas, and I hope that we can do more, because these countries are really needing to borrow some experiences from us, and we also are trying to have a better adaptabilities in different circumstances, like in the the global South countries.
Professor Zhang, what are your thoughts on China's partnerships with other countries in developing the low-altitude economy, especially its cooperation with nations in the global south?
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned global south. I think it is in these places where the low-altitude economy would really benefit the local sort of development. There's a saying in China, 要想富先修路. It means if you want to get rich, you need to build roads first. You need to open up the transportation system to the economy, for the goods and people to flow. But the problem with global south is that, when Europeans come out and colonize the world, they take the best, most easily accessible places to the south. So those become new worlds for the Western countries. And then the rest are basically stuck in desert, rainforest, high mountains, where it's really difficult to have roads. And China overcome this problem with huge sacrifice, and the other countries may not necessarily have capacity for that. But if at least some of the vital services, transportation and logistic needs can be replaced by the low altitude flying routes, then it will lay some of the foundations for their current development, for their economy to finally take off.
Thanks, gentlemen, for insightful analysis. That's all the time for this edition of World Today with Mr. Anna in Beijing. Thank you so much for joining us. Bye for now.
specializing in China area studies. World Today offers unmatched in-depth perspectives on China's politics, economics, business, technology, and society. World Today's team of reporters and contributors provides valuable information from all of the world's major economies. I hope you can join me on World Today for the very best insights and news from China, on China, and help to build a better understanding of China's role in the world today.
Welcome. I'm Ilan Elan, economics professor at the Global Data Science and AI Center in the University of Shanghai. On the World Today program, you can find in-depth and impartial insight, as well as technical commentary on key trends in the Chinese economy, towards technology, business, and blockchain. To prepare for the world tomorrow, join me on World Today.
I am Zhang Yuan, chief economist of Hang Seng Bank, China. The World Today is a real-time program. You will hear interesting people discussing global trends, economic events, what's happening in and outside of China. So, trends around the world. Hope you can join us.
Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi embarked on a full nation trip to Africa. He will visit Namibia, the Republic of the Congo, Chad, and Nigeria from Sunday to Saturday. The Chinese Foreign Minister said the visit aims to implement the outcomes of last year's Beijing summit of the Forum on China-Africa Cooperation and deepen cooperation in various fields. China's customs authorities have unveiled 15 measures to advance the development of the country's western regions, with a particular focus on promoting openness. The measures include support for the opening or expansion of ports in eligible areas in need and the exploration of further measures to facilitate intermodal river, sea, and road-through transportation. Thousands of South Korean protesters have braved heavy snow in Seoul to demonstrate over the arrest of impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol. The country's anti-corruption agency is urging authorities to act on an arrest warrant before it expires on Monday evening. Jakarta reports.
At the moment, I'm on the anti-Yoon side. What we've seen over the past week is reasonable pro-Yoon demonstrations here, and they are still demonstrating. But today we've seen one of the first really sizable anti-Yoon demonstrations. And the mood behind me, I've got to say, is sort of quite festive. A lot of young people here. There's drumming, there's a lot of sort of brevity, but still a sense of determination to try and push forward for the investigation into insurrection and abuse of authority, but also for the Constitutional Court to push forward with its ruling on whether to confirm or throw out the impeachment that was ruled by the National Assembly.
The Qatari Prime Minister has met a high-level Syrian delegation led by the interim foreign minister in Seoul. They discussed the bilateral ties and the latest developments in Syria. The Syrian delegation also included the country's defense minister and the intelligence chief. Freezing weather and snowstorms across the U.S. it's a way to communicate messages to them and go back. And that's the news. I'm going
welcome to Paradise
Production Resources, Ilorin, and Sila Collected are placed at Ilorin, Samira, Ilorin. Today, the water is significant in civilization and local effect. Consequently, more robust is considered that the destiny is predicated by the external effect of the individual dynamic and conditional. Finale is from Bella, the Estado comprendable por la bono de la tierra. Considerar naturaleza de disfrute de foundation en de denoma en medina. Considerar buena es claro en el sentido de medio milenio. Hay cabeza a la historia de la sentida selección de uno de las sentidos. Today, the more cases in these people hover and Pacific will answer is the liberty of the East. Often English, Germany denies the boundary that is near a border area to the sea. Particular the Romans are original rules by the district Romans from Eastern Lima are targeted on the place of the Lima and components boundary. La ley sobre posiciones competitivas que estas uno de las normas globales que existen y otras políticas de las condiciones. La política es activity in army or discussion policies de la segunda guerra política y la guerra de la idea es sobre la historia a la cuestión y que el grado es la actividad civilización de la aristocracia. Si hay creas una traviesa pasajero total de esta manera exterior y por las instituciones de la organización a la autoridad. Los efectos límites a la analogía de la